Hello everyone and welcome back to the Sugar Oven Studio. I'm Faisy the Baker and in today's video we are going to be making an apple pie. So let's get started. We're going to start out in a large bowl with 2.5 pounds of apples. You can use whatever apples you want and you'll just do them about this size, bigger, smaller. So I'm going to add into my apples 3/4 cups of sugar, 3 tablespoons of lemon juice, and half a teaspoon of salt. Once all those things are in, you'll mix them with your hands, just getting all the apples coated with the lemon juice, sugar, and salt. You're going to turn on your stove to medium-high, and you're going to heat up a large pan, and in that pan, you're going to put 3 tablespoons of butter. You're going to now put in your apples into the pan once your butter is kind of bubbling around. And then you'll let it cook on medium-high for about 3 minutes. It's been 3 minutes now, so I'm going to reduce to a medium-low. And then I'll add in 1 teaspoon of lemon zest and 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. Once your lemon zest and cinnamon are in, you'll mix them together and then you'll cover it for about 4 minutes. At the 2-minute mark, you'll go ahead and uncover and just stir your apples around again. Then you'll recover and continue cooking for the other 2 minutes. After the 4 minutes, you'll go ahead and add 2.5 teaspoons of cornstarch. Mix that in and then keep cooking for about another 1.5 minutes. After you've cooked your apples, you'll go ahead and separate the juices from the apples themselves by straining them. Once you've strained out all the juices from your apples, you'll turn your pan back onto a medium-low, and then you'll pour back all the juices that you separated back into the pan. You'll just go ahead and cook these juices until it's really thickened up and it's almost like a caramel instead of just a liquidy runny mess. The mixture is now bubbling up and it's getting closer and closer to becoming the caramelized sauce that we want it to be. It's now like an amber, rich, golden color, bubbling, beautiful, and kind of caramely. This is exactly what we want, so we're ready to move on. I'm now going to transfer back this caramel sauce back into my apple mixture, and then we'll mix it up and put it in the fridge so that when we put it into our pie dough, it won't completely melt the pastry and it'll be chilled and it'll be perfect to where we want it to be. Make sure to get all your sauce because the more sauce, the more delicious your pie will be. Our apple pie is, as you can see, really hot and the steam is rising from it. So we'll put it in the freezer for about an hour and then we'll go ahead and work on our pie crust. For this pie dough, you can use my video, which I'll put a link for in the description. So you'll go ahead and generously flour your surface. This way you don't have any moist, wet dough sticking to the countertop. And also go ahead and flour your rolling pin. So I'll take it out of the bag and roll it until it's about 1/8 of an inch in thickness. I'll flour the top and I'll roll it out into a nice circle. And every now and then you'll flip your pie dough over so you're not just working on one side and not just one side sticks to the countertop. And then you have to peel it off and it'll probably break. So make sure to flip your pie dough around occasionally. You'll go ahead and transfer it into your pie pan. You'll just take it and give it a lot of slack in the center. This way it'll all fill in and your pie dough won't rip. So I'm just taking it and sort of feeding it into the middle so that your whole tray gets covered evenly. You'll go ahead with a pizza cutter, go ahead and cut off that excess dough, but still leave a little bit overlapping the edges so we can make a design later. And don't worry about the edges. You can see it's kind of messy and pretty ugly. Don't worry, we'll all clean that up when the apple pie filling is in and we're decorating. Once your pie crust is in the pie pan and it's all ready, you'll go ahead and put this in the fridge so that it doesn't start melting and stuff while we're waiting for our apple pie filling to be chilled. With whatever excess scraps you have of that first batch of pie dough, or if you have your second batch, you can use some of that too. You're going to take it and you're going to roll it out into a long strip, and this is what we're going to use for the braid around the edge. Once you've rolled out your pie dough to a nice thickness, not too thin, but not too thick, about an 1/8 inch again, you'll go ahead and cut it out into even strips around this thickness. And try to make it as even as possible. And it's totally okay if it goes up and down in size. Once you have 3 strips, you'll connect them together at the top and just braid them down to the bottom. Try to keep it as tight as possible, and you'll do this multiple times until you have enough braid length to go around the edge of your pan. Once you finish doing a braid, you'll sort of twist the end and pat it down, and with the pizza cutter, just chop the ends off, and there. You have your braid rope, and you'll just keep going until you have enough to cover your whole pie pan. For a 9-inch pie pan, which is what I have here, I made about 3 braid ropes of about 10 inches in length that hopefully will cover the circumference of the pie pan, but I'm just going to check to make sure. My pie filling is now completely chilled, so I'm going to put it into my pie pan and I'll just level it off. Before we move on any further, make sure to preheat your oven to 425. We're going to start on the lattice strips for the top of our pie. So just like when we rolled out the pie dough and the braid strips, you'll flour your surface and go ahead and roll out your second pie dough into sort of like a long rectangle. This will be the best for cutting strips. So I have my pie dough at about an 1/8 of an inch thickness, just like my braid strips and my pie crust. So now I'm going to go ahead and cut my strips. And just like your braid ropes, you want to get them like as much the same as possible, but it's totally fine if they're a bit bigger, a bit smaller. So I'll just cut strips and I'll show you what to do next. As you're cutting your strips, just lay your strips on your pie dough just a little bit separated. You can separate them however far apart you want them to be. The closer you are, the more pie dough you'll use, and the farther apart, the less you'll use. So if you don't have that much pie crust, I definitely go for more space in between the strips. So now in this direction, you'll kind of imagine a halfway line, and you'll fold up one strip, skip the next, fold to that halfway point, skip the next, and keep doing that, like skipping every other one and going to like the imaginary halfway point, and there. Then you'll take a strip, lay it out, and fold back. And you'll just keep doing this. You'll keep alternating until you have as many lattice strips as you want. So now I'm going to fold back the opposite ones, which I didn't fold last time. And I'm going to repeat that. I'll take a strip, lay it out, and then fold them back. And I'll just keep doing this. So now that I have this half kind of done, I'm just going to take off these excess strips that are sort of cascading off the edges. And we're done with this half. I'm just re-rolling my pie dough to cut out even more strips, and I'll just continue making my lattice. So I've got my whole lattice done, and I'm just pinching off the edges, but you don't have to make it beautiful yet or anything, because we're still going to add the braids. I'm now just sort of pinching in and tucking in the corners. So now we're making sure there's nothing overlapping too much. Now we're gonna do an egg wash on top. This will just make our dough really shiny and golden on top. So I'm just beating together one egg, and I'll brush that on top of my pie with a pastry brush. I'm just carefully dabbing my egg wash on. Make sure not to put too much in some areas. Try to get it as even as possible. My egg wash is all over the top of my pie, so now we're ready to add the edges, our braid, onto the pie. So just carefully place it and gently push it down and let it sort of stick to the pie dough, and it'll end up turning out beautiful. You'll also then put an egg wash around the braided edge. Now to make a crunchy and sweet top, I'm sprinkling about 2 tablespoons of sugar all over my pie. Now I'm just cutting off this extra edge that we folded in so that all you see is the beautiful braid. Before you bake your pie, put it on a tray because some juices will probably leak out and you don't want to get your oven messy. So now let's go ahead and put this in the oven for 25 minutes. Here it is. We've just taken the apple pie out of the oven, and it's beautiful. It's golden brown. It looks delicious. And I cooked mine in total for 40 minutes because my family likes it extra crispy and crunchy. But that's just my family. So you can cook it for more or less than 25 minutes, but just keep it around that. Before you cut it and enjoy it, make sure it cools completely. Now this guy is perfect with a scoop of vanilla ice cream, and I promise you it will be gone so fast. So please comment if you have any questions, give a thumbs up, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time at the Sugar Oven Studio. Bye!